being immortal. So when you is hard for a quarter, man, we gonna ride. I'm not playing. We ain't leaving out a thug. I promise you. I'm getting everything out.
That beat shit is far a little ball.
Hey, I like thanks to my nigga them. We gon' play with them pistols here. We smoking dank in my liver, yo. We get shit wet on the river, yo. We get shit wet like the river, yo. I wet shit like Austin Rivers, yo. Hey, check me out. On my side is getting wicked, nigga sliding. Mama told that boy to shake the city, so he ride. On that Mac, it be a titty, show no pity when we diving. Roll your brother in the gang before he hitting, why you hiding? OG now be dropping bags, no I don't, bitch, why you lying? M.S. Closet popping tags, spent 5 racks on my designer. Put 15 up on your ass, but that's your ass.
Alright. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to SIdeline Surge. We're here with our college section for today. We have a lot of stuff to get into. But first off, week 7. We had some interesting things. I think the first thing and the most important thing that I want to talk about, Indiana University. The Hoosiers went into Eugene, Oregon over the past weekend for their Big Ten matchup against Oregon Ducks. And they took home a win going 30-20. I think the biggest thing for me, what happened to Oregon in this game? I mean, they just came off over a big win against Penn State. They had been playing fine, so far in the season. They were number 3, and now they lost at home. What does that tell you about the team right now?
I wouldn't really say it's like anything going on, with the team. It's just like it's kind of hard to stay consistent. That's really all it is, bro. Like that's normal. Not everybody's gonna come out strong every single game. And from when I actually watched that game, I could see how like Oregon, they were there. It's just that like it was too much stuff that they tried to like focus on at one time instead of like just letting the game flow and really be able to attack the the box. But with Indiana, I mean we talked about it. Indiana's they're not a bad team. They're actually one of the the better teams, but I think people overlooked them from last year because with their schedule, people saw it as like, oh, it wasn't very challenging for them, and like that could be the case, but people also got to understand it's going to be like that no matter what. It's not every schedule is going to be hard every single year. You're not going to go against all the top recruits or the top teams. I would say so. For Oregon, I wouldn't really say it's a bad thing that they lost. You're going to lose, once or twice throughout the season, no matter who you're going against. But it's definitely very good for Indiana because they like that showed everybody that they're really worthy of being a good team. That's I feel like that's really what they tried to prove in this game going against a top 3 team.
Yeah. For Indiana, how strong are they looking now? I mean, they're at the top of the Big Ten. They just beat Oregon. They've been playing strong all season. How strong do they look to you right now?
I mean, just for Indiana, I would say they're looking strong, but it's still, an even playing field all throughout, the rest of college football. Because we've seen it before. There's a lot of good teams that have either lost to a team that's not on par with them, or is on par, but they haven't shown it that well. So I would say it's definitely it shows a lot of strength behind the team, and it really shows them moving in a very good direction. But that's at the end of the day, it's college football. As we always say, rankings are always changing, no matter what the outcome of the game is. It's always going to change. So just for Indiana, it shows some strength, but it's not going to shake up anything else because there's always going to be somebody to lose at the game. So even if you were on Indiana side or Oregon, somebody's expecting Oregon to lose already. So it's not that much of a surprise that one of those teams lost with them being pretty good. So it's right now it's really hard to tell because it's so many other good teams that's either rising or falling, just on a decline right now. So we really won't know until college playoffs, because that will really show why so many of these teams, have lost early in the season or haven't played that good.
Yeah. The next game, obviously, we had a big rivalry game over the weekend. Oklahoma versus Texas for the All-State Red River rivalry. And Texas, I think, surprised a lot of people, beating number 6 Oklahoma University 23-6. How much of a disaster is this for Oklahoma, I guess? Because, I mean, Texas has been, not their strongest. Archie Manning has had a lot of doubts. And Oklahoma going into this was number 6 and was looking pretty strong. So what do you think happened with Oklahoma here?
I mean, with just to go to Texas a little bit with Arch, with him it wasn't really like I wouldn't say a skill thing, like it wasn't like he wasn't trying to be a good leader. It's just that now I feel like he's starting to really ease into the team very well. He's finally starting to be able to step up. And the thing is that we haven't really been able to see that because of who he's been going against. He's been going against top teams ever since season started, and that's not easy for you to literally be in your first starting season since you've been at Texas. That's not easy at all, So for Oklahoma, for them to lose to Texas, it's not a bad thing. That it's SEC. That's literally like the hardest thing that you could try to do is go against a team that's known for at least being decent over the years. It's not like they were here one year, then they were all the way down here the next. Like, no, they just been consistent. Even if it wasn't winning multiple rings here and there, they've always been consistent. So Oklahoma, I can't even say that as like it was a bad loss on their part, but they can for sure learn from it a lot because now they kind of understand what they're really up against. This is pretty much like almost like I want to say a third of that team from Oklahoma is pretty much gone. There's been a lot of transfers, and then obviously guys getting drafted. So for that already, you're gonna have a lot of sophomores playing, even some freshmen here and there, and then now you have to really rely on your juniors and seniors, or even your fifth years. It's a lot of things that they really rely on for Oklahoma for them to step up and play as good as they really as they really can. So for Oklahoma, we could definitely see some changes for sure. I'll probably say in this next game, or if not this game, game after that. So it's all about them really being able to shake back and actually like take this as like, okay, we need to fix all of this first before we try to play anybody else.
Yeah. Then we also had a big ACC game, Pittsburgh going up against Florida State. I don't think you ever met him in middle school, Samaj, but one of the freshman D linemen for Pittsburgh actually went to our school. My mom is still friends with his mom, funnily enough. But Pittsburgh took home the win, 34-31. Is this, Florida State has had, considering how their season went last year, they've had a better season. However, they are now 3-3. They've lost against very important ACC matchups, and they were still kind of in the rankings, but they were sliding down the rankings. Is this kind of the nail in the coffin for FSU?
Well, I mean, it's definitely not like something good to look at, because everybody was expecting FSU to like really be that team that would be able to like pretty much Keon Coleman's team. I'll say that when he was at FSU, and honestly I feel like that was probably one of the best FSU teams that we've seen in recent years for sure. We thought that's what we were going to get this season, with the talent that's being in there. We thought that we were really going to be able to see how FSU, they're starting to build that momentum back up for them to really be as one of the top schools in Florida. We thought we were going to get that as soon as we saw that very first game against Bama. Everybody thought that, because nobody was expecting Bama to lose at all, especially from FSU last year. So I wouldn't say it's the nail in the coffin, but it's definitely getting close. Like, you're literally about to put the nail right there and you're about to hit it with the hammer. Like, that's how close it is, because if they don't step it up, is pretty much going to be in game for them. Like, it's going to be over because there's so many teams that's still undefeated or has only lost one game so far, and yet they're playing, schools way better than FSU, So it's like, if FSU doesn't go back to that week one, or I guess you could say, the first 3 weeks of them playing, if they don't get back to that, that stature is it's game over for them. They won't be able to make playoffs with that, especially with the upcoming opponents in their schedule, So like they have no choice but to pick that up this week, or it's going to be over, because you're already 3-3. You lose any more games, you're pretty much going to be finishing the season like not even in double digits, So it's definitely bad for FSU, but that's also good on Pitt's side, because Pitt is not one of the most prestige programs, and just for them to really come out and put up that good of a fight against FSU, that says a lot. It really does, because you don't necessarily expect any team other than like that top 25 or other than that top 10 to really put up such a good fight against a good good overall team. So it's definitely good on Pitt for sure, obviously with them winning, but FSU, if after this week, if it's not picking it back up, it's over for them.
Yeah. Now, moving on to top 25, we had some big movements. First off, the teams that went up, Indiana obviously moved up to number 3. It's their highest ranking ever, like literally ever. The next highest ranking was number 4, which they did in like 1945 and 1967. So big ups to them. We also had USF move up to number 19. USC came into the rankings. Texas came back into the rankings. And Utah also, after a big upset against ASU. Yeah, ASU. For Texas, is there still hope for Texas now that they're back in? Or is it just kind of like they're trying to make the season look at least somewhat decent?
Well, there's so many changes going on with top 25 right now. It's just like, we honestly, probably by next week, we won't even know who's going to be in top 25 and who's going to be out. Like, we won't know, because it's like, if you look at the schedule, like, oh yeah, this team's for sure winning, like 100%, and then it gets to it gets game time, and then it's upset. Then now it's like, okay, where are they going to fall in the rankings? There's no way to tell anything, because with how so many changes is going on all throughout football, like not even just college, just all around with football, it's really hard to like gauge where anything is going to be, bro. Anything. So for Texas, like they for sure have a chance, to really be back at top. But it's like, bro, if they do that, they cannot lose another game, because they lose one more, either possibly out of rankings or possibly, not ranked high enough to make playoffs. Like, it's so much stuff going on in rankings, and we really talking about this yesterday. Like, bro, even with Bama losing, Georgia losing, Tennessee even losing, it's bro, what's really going on for us to like, okay, is SEC even going to be a problem in top 25 now? Like, there's so many teams losing. Are they going to be a problem, or is it going to come down to Big Ten? Like, are they going to be a problem? It's so much stuff to where if even Indiana or Texas, and then we can even say of course USF, with them winning, it's like, if they're going to keep winning, they gotta make a statement, because even if other teams are winning as well, it all comes down to final decisions, in that last week of who gets voted higher or whatever. It all comes down to that, and so that's another thing that those teams have to look out for. Not even just losing, but making sure that even if they are winning, they're all winning equally. They got to make sure that they're at least trying to win more, put more points up and put up a better performance than those other teams that are winning as well.
You mentioned USF. They are now number 19. They're slowly moving up those rankings. Do they have a strong chance? Because I mean, you look at their schedule. The only other ranked opponent they have is Memphis right now, and besides that game against they've been playing strong. They just went up against a North Texas team that was also looking very good. And, after a mild first half, they turned on the lights and put up 63 points on them. What do you think about USF? Do they have a chance to get to the playoffs?
I mean, right now, I would say any team has a chance. Like even teams that's not ranked, they have a chance as well because we've seen how rankings have either been like horrible or they've slowly gotten good and then it was just completely changed out of nowhere from upsets. We've seen that like in the past maybe 3 weeks or so. So it's like just for USF, going on with their schedule and everything and who they've played, Memphis, obviously being a ranked team, I wouldn't say Memphis is like too much of a challenge for them. If you get what I'm saying, like they're both proving themselves as to why they should be ranked. So it's like for that is definitely going to be more of a challenge with Memphis because now it's like okay, it's either you're not ranked anymore or I'm not ranked anymore. Like it was like one of us gonna walk out of this not being ranked anymore pretty much. So that's what's really gonna make them go head on and try to attack the game very well. But right now it's hard to tell, bro. It really is because it's so many games that like have went sideways and there's so many games that can go sideways in these next few weeks to where we won't even know who's going to be the number one spot or even in top 3 by the end of the season. We won't know because we could say right now, okay, Ohio State's probably still going to be in top 3. We don't know that because they could lose to anybody in that top 25 and then immediately drop down past 10 or even 15. We really won't know that. So for USF, they for sure have a chance to make playoffs 100%, but they got to make sure that it's not only about the ranked teams that they play. That's kind of the problem that a lot of teams have. It's like, okay, they're ranked. That's now I really got to try it. No, you got to try your hardest, try 110% every game, So as long as USF does that, they'll for sure be able to make playoffs, for sure.
Now, for the teams that dropped down this week, both Oregon and Oklahoma, after their terrible losses, Oregon went down to number 8. Oklahoma went down to number 14. I think for both of them, how do you like these movements? Do you think they were too lenient? Do you think they're in the right place? Do you think they should have been dropped down more?
Well, I definitely think is good so far because it's always going to be imbalance on rankings. Like it's never going to be a perfect ranking. That's almost impossible for that to happen. So for them to drop down that much with them losing and then some teams even rising, I wouldn't really say that like 8 for Oregon is bad because it's like they lost to a pretty good team. It's not like they lost to a completely unranked team and they've lost multiple weeks in a row. Like they've been undefeated so far until that game. So for them to drop to 8, I feel like that's pretty fair, especially with there being so many teams that are undefeated that's ranked below them, but they haven't played anybody ranked yet. So it's like it's fair for them to play more ranked people and then only lose that one game and still be in the top 10. I feel like that's fair. But for teams that really should not even be close to like top 10 or even just 25 at all, they need to prove themselves because I definitely feel like there's a lot of bias going on with rankings at like here and there for 100%. That always happens. Like right now, I definitely feel like as you said yesterday, Georgia should not be that high at all. Yeah, because I know we talked about Georgia and Bama and how their games have been going. I feel like Bama, they're right where they need to be if they win this next game. If they lose, then they shouldn't even be in like top 15 really, because that's a whole bunch of games that like people are going to question like, oh, like did they really win or was it just like a fluke? And then same thing with Georgia. Even with Georgia losing, barely beating Tennessee, as you said, like that right there, that's what's gonna make people like, okay, do they really deserve to be at that spot? Like, come on now. Even though it's another SEC team, it's another ranked team, that like, come on now, you're barely beating somebody. So it's like for them to be right there, and then Tennessee not be too far below them, I feel like that's definitely like, moving the agenda of like, okay, SEC is still like the hardest conference. SEC is still that conference where it's like, okay, everybody could pretty much just dominate wherever. Well, right now that's not the case. There's so many other conferences that's on the rise right now. So I definitely feel like Georgia should be lower. That I would definitely not say number 9 at all. I would not say that, because then you're putting them right below Oregon that just lost to a better team. So it's like for Georgia to be right there, they should be lower. And then I definitely want to say Notre Dame. Notre Dame should not be in there at all. 4-2 is unacceptable, bro. I wouldn't want any teams past like that top 15 mark. I wouldn't want any of them to have more than 2 L's. I wouldn't want that, because that's just unfair. Like, imagine all the teams that's below them that have played harder opponents and are either undefeated or they only lost 1 game. I don't feel like that's fair. So right now it's still a little hard to tell, but I think other than that, it's pretty fair. There definitely are some other teams that like you can question, like maybe Ohio, and even though with them winning the chip, is like that's last year, bro. That should not have carried on this far, into week 8. So for that, I definitely feel like they should have like brushed that to the side a little bit. Like Ohio State, even though they won, that come on now, it's too far into the season for them to still be number 1. And even though being undefeated, like they deserve to be top 3, but it's like there's so many other teams that have played more ranked opponents. Like we gotta at least see some type of change with that. But other than that, I think the rankings for this week is pretty decent, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, finally we have the drop teams. A lot of teams dropped from the rankings this week. Michigan, Illinois, Arizona State, Iowa State, Florida State, they all dropped from the rankings, making way for 5 new teams. Obviously, USC, Texas, we already mentioned, Utah, and also Cincinnati and Nebraska came in. And then, before we end the podcast, we had a pretty important news come in for college. Penn State fired their head coach, which, I mean, is huge. Like, the downfall of Penn State this season has been kind of crazy to watch. What's the path forward now for Penn State?
Honestly, I feel like they fired him a little too early. Even though with them not being in the top 25 anymore, it's like is very much hard to tell, bro. Like you never know what could have went on with those games in a locker room, or just what's going on in the sideline. Like he could have been in a panic. You never know. So I feel like they should have waited probably until this game or the game after and then fired him. But with seasons not being like crazy long, and obviously you only have a certain amount of games to play, it would at some point he was going to get fired. Like it was going to happen. So I definitely feel like it was smart for them to fire him now instead of waiting so long, because then now you're going to be too late into the season trying to fix everything so quickly. So for Penn State moving forward, I say take a page out of UCLA's book, honestly, because that was the team that they lost to. Like for you to lose to them, that speaks a lot of volume. That speaks so much volume on many different levels. So for Penn State, they have to find order, really. Be one team, be a unit. You can't try to operate on your own. And even though that's obviously going to happen with a lot of players, trying to make it to the league, it's going to happen. Like you're obviously going to try to put yourself first in certain situations during the game or just throughout the season. But if you don't got that unity, if you're not moving as one, then you're going to have those games where you're going to lose to an unranked team, or you're just going to play horrible. So for Penn State, it's really hard to tell what they need moving forward, because we don't normally see that. You would never see a team ranked that high lose to a team that hasn't even won a game. You would never see that. So it's just right now they legit have to pretty much clean house. Like, even not like I wouldn't say fire anybody else, but like, okay, if we're gonna move forward and we're gonna try to win some more games, everybody need to drop their ego right now, and we need to fix this like this week before we keep moving forward. So that's all they can really do.
Yeah. Well, with that, we will end off our college episode. Stick around for our NFL episode, everyone, because it's going to be right after this.
Yeah, 60 on it. Yep, low spur. We going all the way up. Yeah. I'm gonna turn this bitch all the way up. Hey, Brandon, why you? Yeah. I'm on the block with that heavy, yeah. On the block with that heavy. Watch out for cops that pull up in them Chevys. Whip out the crack, my main trap, her name Betty. These niggas don't want no smoke on my body. Gucci and Louis can't do no Zanati. Bad bitch on me look like she hang with Kylie. I used to fuck with a bitch, hang with Kylie. On the real, I think that bitch live in Cali. My boy shot the pot of the flower that Kylie. Yeah. I could've been a stylist. I remember when the boys used to dollars. I got a girl that trap like she from Dallas. I got so much money, need an accountant. She said
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Sideline Surge. We are here with the NFL section. We have a lot to talk about. Some important Week 6 games and some top headlines this week. First off, we gotta start off with Thursday Night Football. The Eagles on Thursday Night Football lost to the New York Giants in a surprising 17-34 game. Cam Scatterboo. We need to talk about Cam Scatterboo. Cam Scatterboo had 3 touchdowns against the Eagles on Thursday night, racking up 98 yards on 19 carries. Jackson Dart also had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. But Cam Scatterboo, man, I mean, I think we haven't talked about him yet on the podcast. Last time we talked about the Giants, we had to talk about Jackson Dart. The Giants already had a great running back in Saquon Barkley, and off he went to the Eagles. Now they have Cam Scatterboo. Is this the time that the Giants might actually do well with the team, or is this just kind of a one-off?
It's right now is like, bro, it is honestly 50-50, because if you really look at the talent that has left the Giants and went to a whole nother team, and like now they're really dominating, anywhere they come across, it's really hard to put that on the scale, because we could see the same exact thing about this current Giants team. Like, for them to have Jackson Dart, Scatterboo, and then obviously Leak with him being out for the season, and then even Abdul Carter, with them having so many opportunities now to really grow as a team, as a young team at that like this will be able to destroy that narrative of Giants being like that program that you would not want to get traded to at all, because it's going to kill your career. That like, this is their opportunity to do that. And even with them, playing so good, it's like, it's really difficult to even put them, like, I guess I like put them on a list, because with all the good teams that have lost recently, we can't even tell if if that was just a fluke, or if these teams are actually becoming very good and becoming a huge problem for these these wonderful franchises that we've seen in the past. That's what it really is now, because now with the Bills losing 2 times in a row to to teams that they should not have even lost to. And then even with Ravens, having a problem with Lamar not being there, with him literally carrying them so much. And then now we can say the same thing about Eagles, with them being like so slow to pick up the pace. Now they're tripping over each other. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not making the right decisions in game. And even with the Chiefs, with them not, being that good either to really be able to play how we know they can. It's like, it's hard to tell if those teams are like just bad now, or if every other team is just as good. Like,
yeah,
as is literally becoming like that old school football where there's so many good teams that has so many stars on it. That's really what it's becoming now. So is for the Giants, like, bro, they're honestly becoming like that team that everybody has to look out for. Like, even if there's another top team, they have no choice but to look out for them because anything can happen like at any moment, with these games. So it's really not gonna be like that good to like really make any opinions like this early.
Yeah. I mean, they're at least strong enough to upset a team like the Eagles, you know what I mean? Do you think, for the Eagles, we talk a lot about the Eagles, they're the defending champs. What does this loss signal to you for the Eagles right now?
I mean, we talked about it last week, with the Ravens. It's panic mode. You can't be a Super Bowl team and you have that big of a reputation with you being to the Super Bowl that like so many times in recent years. Actually, you can't like have that big of a reputation and you have that good of a depth chart with a roster and a great program, and then now you're literally struggling against almost every single team that you have played. Like that doesn't make any sense. I understand if you may have a slow starting game and then the second half you put up 20 or 30. Like that's normal. You're not going to automatically come to the game and score 30 to 40, 50 like right away. That's not going to happen unless you're literally playing a team that is completely out of order. So for the Eagles, it's like, bro, you cannot be this good of a team and then like you're pissing down your leg every single time you play against somebody. That, like, come on, bro. That's literally like child's play, bro. You're a grown man. Be a grown man and literally show these other teams that you won that ring for a reason. Because then now you're gonna have everybody question like, did they really deserve that ring, or did the Chiefs just give it to them? You cannot have that. That's only going to create bad outcomes for everything. So it's like not even just for the Eagles, for every other team that was in the playoffs last year, bro. They need to make that statement. They have to. And so far, the only teams I see actually making a statement will be the Bucks, the Commanders, and then the Lions. Only 3 teams right now. Every other team, Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens, Bills, bro, they're not even like doing what they're supposed to. It's honestly like horrible to watch because like it come on now. There's no way you have this many stars on your team. You have great coaches, literally the best coaches around you, and yet you can't even like put up that many points against a mediocre team, bro. Like it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, you mentioned the Bills. We might as well move forward to the Bills and then come back to the other 2 games. The Bills tonight, we are recording on Monday night. The Bills lost to the Falcons. Definitely a surprise for, I think, the majority of people. Losing to Bijan Robinson's he matched the career high 170 rushing yards, including an 81-yard touchdown for a 24-14 win over the Bills, with Josh Allen having 2 interceptions. And Michael Penix Jr., he played, I mean, good. Like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like one of those games where you go, oh my god, like Michael Penix Jr. just played so much better than Josh Allen or just carried. No, he just didn't commit any turnovers. Is it panic mode for the Bills now too?
I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's panic mode for everybody, bro. Bro, man, I'll rock with Josh Allen. I'll rock with the Bills. They've been going through it a lot, losing to the Chiefs every freaking year in the playoffs. We already know that story.
Yeah.
This is literally the time to show why you should have beaten the Chiefs every single time y'all matched up in the playoffs. This is the time to know. Like, this is the time to show it. And you're not doing that. You lost to the Falcons, a team that literally just got pretty much 2 new quarterbacks in the past 2 years. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. Y'all have pretty much been together for so long now. Like, yeah, of course, y'all have had some people get traded in and out, get released and all that. Of course, that's going to happen every single season. But for y'all to still have pretty much the focal points of the team, you still have a great O-line. You still have Josh Allen there. They have Keon Coleman as your receiver. You still have arguably the best running back right now, James Cook. Come on, bro. You're losing to a team that literally just assembled last year. Last year. Like, it's not like they've been there for like maybe 4 or 5 seasons already. Nah, they just assembled last year. That's
Yeah.
literally like the Commanders. They just came up last year. So you cannot come into this game, play like that, and then expect people to still ride with you, bro. Like it can't be like that. It
Yeah.
cannot be like that. Because even if there's a lot of good teams losing, that doesn't make it a good thing at all. Like even if it's all even on their part, that still does not make it good, bro. Because then now you have so many people doubting like if you're really going to be that team in that playoffs again, if you're really going to be able to make it that far, and be able to prove everyone wrong. Once it gets too far into the season, is over for you. You will not be able to make that comeback and turn around everything unless you're literally at the last game of the season, and that will be the game that determines you getting into playoffs. That's it. If you do not make sure that you come out on top in your division, especially the Bills division, come on, bro. If you don't do that, then it's literally game over for you. Because what out of all those three other teams, you literally like. I right now I would say even if the Dolphins don't lose another game, I'll have them over the Bills right now.
Yeah.
You lost 2 times to teams that you should not have lost to at all, while the Dolphins have lost to teams that they were going to lose to no matter what. Like, come on now, that should not be acceptable at all. It really is unacceptable on their part.
Yeah. So now, let's go back to the other two games that weren't as, huge in, the impact that they make on the league. First off, we had the Seahawks and the Jaguars. I'm a very happy Seahawks fan this week. We went on the road and won 20-12. And the thing I want to talk about today, we talk about Ohio State University. We talk about how they're, we call them wide receiver gear. And one specific Ohio State University alum is at the Seahawks right now. Jackson Smith and Jigba. And the fans are starting to say, the people are starting to say that he might be the best wide receiver in the league right now. What do you say to that?
I give him his flowers. I agree with everybody else that says that. But you have no choice but to agree with that. You literally you can't deny that, because if we were really looking at all the top receivers from last year, you won't even hear their name anymore. I have yet to hear anybody say Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league right now. I have yet to hear anybody say Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the league right now. Same thing about Tyreek Hill. Same thing about CD Lamb, Amon-Ra. I have yet to hear anybody say any of that. It literally came down to the rookies carrying receivers right now. Emmanuel Agbuka, also from Ohio State, carrying right now. Arguably one of the best receivers as well. Then you have JSN on the Hawks. Come on, bro. They're literally showing why Ohio State is wide receiver U. I know some people are gonna get mad at that, but that's just how it is right now. Like they're dominating, bro. And for you to put, our quarterback on the other side of the ball that knows what he's doing, that's gonna make that's a cakewalk from there. That's gonna make it easier for him. That's literally gonna help them get to the playoffs and be able to execute, bro. Because people don't understand, bro. If you ever a rookie receiver come in and be able to just do everything off the rip, be able to literally start and change everything around for the program, and then you put a quarterback, that duo that's there, you're going to have some problems when you play them down the road. You're going to, and that's exactly why we literally said a few weeks ago. Right now the Bucks and the Hawks are a problem for every team, even if they're not top 5. They're going to have a problem going against those two teams, bro, because it's just they're doing everything they can. They're literally becoming these two teams to fear. Those two, and then right after that, you could even put Giants or Colts in there. You could put any of those teams against whatever other team, and I promise you, it's gonna be a horrible, score box at the end of the day. They're going to put 40 on your head. Absolutely.
I think I also want to touch on really quickly. We've already touched on him before, but Sam Darnold, he almost got 300 passing yards this game. He had 2 touchdowns, one to JSN and one to Cooper Kupp. he had two passes that went for 61 yards, one to JSN, one to AJ Barner. You know, JSN is amazing. He had 162 of those yards. But also Sam Darnold to be, he targeted JSN 13 times. He's had him receive it on 8. He went 16 completions for 27. How strong, just as an overall team, does the Seahawks look, especially their offense right now?
I mean as far as strength, they're for sure looking like a top 5 team right now, for sure. 1,000%. They're looking like a top 5 team.
Mhm.
And I would say it's kind of like I'll say it's like a yin and yang thing going on with the Hawks and the Bucks, because it's like they're very similar, like them having vet QBs and then having some rookie receivers come in and be able to change everything around, and even you having your vet receivers and all your other teammates there, with them being so involved all around with the team, it really helps them produce and be able to like plant that seed and grow like rapidly. So for the Hawks right now, they're 100% going to be number 1 in their division.
Yeah.
And then not even I honestly think that not even just in their division, I think maybe by the end of the season they'll be number 1 in the conference, period. I feel like they'll for sure be number 1 in NFC. It only makes sense because right now you obviously have the Rams, you have 49ers, that's still putting up decent numbers, and then you have Lions. There's still some good competition there, but if those teams aren't trying to be on par with the Hawks, then the Hawks are going to take over. Like we're really seeing that that legendary team when Russell Wilson was there. We're really seeing that come back into play, and even if the play style is different, the numbers are still there.
Yeah, let's move on to our local team, Miami. A very close game against the Chargers at home, but ultimately they lost 29-27. Ashane had 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, what I want to touch on with these guys is Tua in a press conference said, that it's like a team problem. And, there's been a lot of pushback on that. I think even Mike McDaniels, said he shouldn't have said that. When you talk about there being a coach problem or even a problem with Tua specifically, what do you see out of this Miami team right now? What problems are plaguing them right now?
Tua said it best. It's a team problem. If you're butthurt about that and you're on the team, then he is right. Like you're literally proving him right at the end of the day, because then now you're not getting out of your feelings and you're not letting your ego go, and you only putting yourself first instead of putting the team first. You can't be doing that. This isn't high school or college anymore, bro. This isn't looking for highlights. This is y'all looking for wins to make sure y'all still are a successful team at the end of the day, at the end of the season. That's just really what this is all about. And I watched that whole game. It wasn't on Tua. It wasn't. It really was not. And some people will say like, oh yeah, it's on Tua because he threw 2 interceptions. If you see how those interceptions happened, then you wouldn't be saying that. No time in the pocket. And then when he does have a time in the pocket, it's either a play that's probably, saying 10 yards down just to get a first down, So like, obviously you're gonna see like, oh, even with him support, like he has to get the ball off quick in those situations. But then yet when he needs a little bit more time to get the ball off, they're gonna blame it on him at the end of the day. Yeah. No matter what, it's always gonna fall back on Tua. And if not Tua, then McDaniels, for sure. It's always gonna be like that. But people need to really watch the games and actually see what's going on with the team, because as soon as you see that notification pop up, oh, Tua threw an interception, Tua did this, Tua did that, or something going on with with the opposing team, it's always gonna fall back on him instead of the people around him. If I was Tua, I would 100% have that talk with my team. They don't want to show up to player meetings. Okay, cool. McDaniels, we need to have a talk about this and this. What's going on? We need like, this is a grown men's game, bro. This is not like oh, I got a scholarship here, so I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to fall under, whatever a coach says. Like, nah, yeah, we're gonna do what coach say, but we're gonna make sure all of us do it, and not just some people. We've only seen that from Waddle. Ollie Gordon, when he gets in the game, he tries his hardest. If a chain, he's been carrying the team. He's been doing everything he needs to do ever since he got on the team.
Yeah.
Ever since we really got him, he's been doing everything he needs to do. And he's the only one that's really trying his hardest. I can't say that about anybody else. I can't say that about Jalen Phillips. I can't say that about Bradley Chubb. I can't say that about Chop.
Yeah.
Or even some of the, some other players. Even on our O-line, I can't say that because they're not showing that at the end of the day. If you're not showing me why I should be riding with you, then I'm still gonna sit back and I'm gonna sit there and talk to you about the media. If you don't like what I said, then you need to come to me in that locker room, and we need to handle that right there so we can sit there and move forward as a team. Like, people need to stop pushing that narrative of Tua is horrible. Like, okay, cool, he may not have had the greatest seasons since coming to that team from Alabama, but he was at Alabama for a reason, starting over 2 other star quarterbacks. Give him his flowers, bro. Started over Hurts and Herbert. Come on now, give him his flowers. He's been at least trying. You can't say he hasn't been trying.
Yeah.
Even if he can't throw the ball down the field, 60 yards, 70. Okay, he's still trying his hardest, bro. Like, you got to give him that. So I don't. It's definitely not on Tua, bro. I will for sure say it's on McDaniels as well. He's not being a coach. He's trying to be a friend to them. You can't be a friend to grown men when you're a coach at the end of the day. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Then now you're gonna create bonds, and now they're not gonna respect you as much as they really should. So it's for sure not on Tua. I would definitely say it's on the rest of the team and on McDaniels right now, besides a chain.
Okay, cool. That's all the games I think for this week that I wanted to cover. But we do gotta talk about headlines. First off, the Tennessee Titans fired head coach Brian Callahan. I think just today the news broke. They were already in rebuild. We already knew they were, in rebuild. They had just gotten their number 1 pick. They drafted Cam Ward. Are we kind of with this firing? Are we kind of extending the timeline of this rebuild?
I mean, it doesn't have to always be like that. But when it comes to something that big to the program, when it's your head coach, it's like, okay, yeah, now we're the deadline for us to be like fully established. I wouldn't say it's really on Brian, because it's hard, bro, when you have a whole program to really try to lead, and there's so much stuff that's piling on top of each other. It's gonna be hard to change that very quickly. But now that may be a good thing for him. Now we could probably see somebody else come in and take over the team and just be able to turn around very quickly. We could probably see that now. It may not happen this season, with their record and everything, and with so much stuff having to change, but we could definitely at least hope for them to finish the season strong and really be able to see like where the direction the team is going to go. And we can't really say like, oh, they're going to be good or bad, even if they finish good or bad. But at the same time, it's NFL at the end of the day. Y'all professionals for a reason. If you can't come in and do your job, then you're going to have that backlash, and you're going to have horrible results by the end of it.
Yeah. Another big thing that happened literally just yesterday, or actually today, the suspension came through, but I do want to talk about the fight between Kansas City and Detroit, started by Brian Branch, by Detroit safety Brian Branch, and now he's been suspended for 1 game. So to me, the fight, it's a fight. I think 1 suspension is fine. I don't think it was anything too severe. Thankfully, no one got hurt. Do you think the suspension should have also applied to maybe Juju Smith-Schuster, or do you think the way everything happened, it's been resolved?
Oh, I mean, we know how all this goes. You know, like it's a lot of politics in the game. It's a lot of like feelings that go on. So it's really just like for Juju, just from watching that, I wouldn't say he should get suspended, but it's like better, bro. Like you should not be trying to engage in anything, especially when it comes to after the game, because that's always when something happens. Like you don't necessarily have a very high chance of getting kicked out the game if something like that was to happen, but you already know once after the game is over, it's always going to be something that's going to like make you regret doing that. So for Juju, I would say it wasn't even like on him. It was just he kind of egged it on. Like obviously with that penalty, and then even with Mahomes taunting, some people are going to have like their opinions on it. Of course, that's always going to happen, and some people are going to say like, oh, it was like if Mahomes did this and taunted and he threw the ball in my direction and he did all that, like, oh, yeah, they're going to feel some type of way about it. But then again, you're letting your feelings determine everything, right? That's not what you're supposed to do, because there's always going to be some type of taunting, even if it's not a celebration during the play. He may taunt in some type of way. He may have said some words and rest probably haven't heard it. Yeah, that's going to happen, bro. So for Juju, he should be good. But for Brian Branch, that's not like something you should be doing, bro. You're at the end of the day, your job is literally on the line. Like no matter what you do, especially when you're going up against a high profile team and they have a high profile quarterback. Come on now. That's going to happen, because it could be anything that could get you thrown out for a game or two. And there's going to be anything that's going to cause some yards if it happened during the game. You cannot let your emotions get the best of you, no matter what you do in the game. So he definitely needs to learn his lesson for sure. If he doesn't learn his lesson by this, bro, we're gonna see a lot of like people have something to say about it, and then it's just gonna gradually get worse and worse, because not everybody's gonna start doing how they really like doing everything they really want to, and that's just gonna have everybody either get suspended, cause the game is gonna be like that. So he can't set that example for everybody else, bro. You gotta tighten up on that.
Well, finally, we do gotta talk very quickly about the Joe Flacco trade to Cincinnati. Cincinnati right now is in, one of the many teams right now that are in panic mode after Joe Burrow got injured, and obviously Jake Browning has not been the answer. When Joe Flacco came back for the Browns, was it last season or the season before? He saw like a pretty good success. Do you expect the same now at Cincy, or do you think it'll just be more of the same?
I mean, we could see how Joe Flacco is he's like one of those guys in pickup, to where it's like he's not gonna have all the points in the game, he's not gonna carry the team, but when it's his moment, he's gonna make sure he does his assignment. He's one of those QBs, even though he may be very much on the older side of the guys in the league. Some people are going to see it as a problem. Like, nah, that's not a problem. You still got Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees was in the league until his 40s. Tom Brady was in the league until his 40s. For almost to 45, So it's like, for people to think age is a problem, and for him to think like, oh, his reaction time may not be it. He may not be able to do this, do that. Okay, so that's a part of the game. Not everybody's going to be able to do every single thing that somebody else can do. Because if that was the case, then there's so many people that would like not either be in the league, or there's so many other people that would be in the league, because then they can do the same thing anybody else can do. That's not how it works. Everybody's different. So for that trade, I definitely feel like it's good for Cincy right now, because they're hoping for something. They're hoping for Burrow to be able to come back healthy, and then they're also hoping for Flacco to be able to just maintain the team until Burrow can come back. But I feel like for Cleveland part, that definitely that put them even more in a negative light as a team, for sure. Because then it's like, you put him number one, and you're basically saying like I want him to start over all these other possible candidates for this team,
Yeah.
but then you trade him right away when Cincy comes up. Like, come on now, like that doesn't make any sense. If he was such that high value to the team, why trade him, and why not trade anybody else? Because then now you're gonna have so many people saying like, oh, they're doing that just so they can keep Dylan Gabriel, QB number 1, and then have Shador number 2. And now it's like, okay, now when it's time for Shador to shine, now he's going to be, now they have that chance to be able to say, oh, we built Shador, or we made Shador, or we did this for Shador. Now for Dylan Gabriel, now it's going to be like, okay, he performed as good. Now, oh, we did that. Nah, bro. They always had it there in them. They always had the talent there in them, but you never believed in them. You literally, like, it was pretty much a rebound for you. You knew nobody was going to pick them off the table. So now you waited that long. Now you're going to pick them up in the draft. And then you're going to act like Flacco is still that, high of an asset to the team, but then you trade him right away. Like, come on, bro. That makes no sense. I honestly feel like they should have started Dylan or Shador just from there if you're going to trade him. And obviously they didn't know that because, nobody's expecting, Burrow to get hurt. But that doesn't mean as soon as Burrow gets hurt, now it's the time for me to, like just try to play it off. Like, oh, I'm gonna let Flacco go. We're gonna get some draft picks. And then now it's time for, these rookies to step up. At that point, you might as well let those rookies play. Let them be QB 1 and 2 from the start. And then obviously have Flacco as emergency QB, have him as third string. So I don't think it was smart on Cleveland, because it's like, nah, you're definitely putting it at risk because everybody's either wanting Shador, or now everybody's like not expecting them to be very good, because now you have 2 rookies with no vet quarterback to help there to guide them. Yeah, like, come on now. It's not like, it's not like everybody's a rookie. Everybody's either a rookie in a sophomore year, a vet. Like they've been there for some time. So for you to depend on 2 rookie quarterbacks now that you traded your vet, you pretty much have to hope that they still do what they were doing in college, in the league now. So that's a lot of stuff that really goes into it. But if nothing happens, for Browns, they're for sure gonna like have a lot of negative backlash. Like it's gonna be bad for them at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that's been our Sideline Surge episode. It was wonderful to be with y'all. We are gonna sign off. We'll be back next week, hopefully. A lot of stuff will be happening, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see y'all later.